Hello students, I am Swati Kedar. In today's C# session, we are going to see the one more journal program, that is a writer program in C# to count the frequency of each element of an array. And in this program, you have to count the each element how many times come in an array. And this program execution we are going to see in two ways. The first way in Visual Studio, and the second way we type the program in Notepad and execute on developer command prompt. I have already told you how to open the Visual Studio and how to create the program. I have created here one file for this program. You see here, I have already told you these 4 lines means this is the namespaces. I have already told you in previous session. After that we have created here namespace, frequency, element. Inside that you have to create the classes and the methods. Inside that we have created here class element. Inside that we have created here main method, static void main, and program execution start from this method only. And inside the main method we have created here one variable count of a type integer, and it initialized to 0. After that we have taken here one array int array1 arr1 is equal to new int in bracket 5. The array of size is 5 here. And after that we have taken here bool means boolean array visited is equal to new bool in bracket 5. That value is here 5. And console dot write line enter numbers, and this print on the console. After that we have taken here for loop for int I is equal to 0, I is less than 5, I plus plus. If the condition is true, then it enters into the loop and it prints on the console element I plus 1. It prints and it reads the value from the console and it's stored in this array arr1 of I, and it repeats the loop until this condition becomes false. It repeats the loop and it reads the value from the console for 5 times, because we have taken here 5. After that we have taken here one more for loop for int I is equal to 0, I is less than 5, I plus plus. Inside that we have taken here condition, if visited of I is equal to true. If this condition is true, then it executes the continue keyword, means it goes to the next iteration of this for loop. I will be incremented by 1 here. If this condition is false, then it goes to this next for loop for int j is equal to 0, j is less than 5, j plus plus. Then it enters into the loop and it checks for the condition if array of I is equal to array of j. If this condition is true, then it executes this code visited j is equal to true. It mark as true and it increment the value of count by 1, count plus plus, and it repeats the loop until this condition becomes false. If this condition is false, then it come out of the loop and it prints this frequency of item array of I is, and prints the value of count, and it makes the count value 0 and it goes to the next iteration of this outer for loop, and it repeats this for loop until this condition false. If the condition is false, then come out of the loop and it prints the output. And you have to close all the brackets and save the program. After the saving, now we go for the execution. You have to click on start. You see here, enter the numbers. Element 1, I enter here 5. Element 2, I enter here 6. Element 3, 5. Element 4 is 8. Element 5 is 8. And you see here output frequency of item 5 is 2. The 5 here, it counts the 5 element, how many time it comes. You see here 5, the element 1 and element 3 is 5, so it prints 2, and frequency of item 6 is 1. So here you see here element 2 is 6, it comes once only, so it prints 1 here. Frequency of item 8 is 2, 8 will come here 2 times, so it prints 2. And this is the execution in Visual Studio. Now we go for this tracing of this program. You see here count is here initialized to 0, and I already told you this. And you see here it prints on the console. First enter the numbers, after that we have here for loop for the reading the values from the console. For int I is equal to 0, 0 is less than 5 as, then it enters into the loop and it prints element I plus 1. I value is here 0, so 0 plus 1 1, element 1, and it reads, after that it reads value from the console and it stored in this array in the ith position. The I is here 0, so array of 0 position it stored the 5. I entered here 5, so it stored in the ith position, it stored the 5. You see here. After that I value will be incremented by 1. Now I value is 1, I is less than 5, then it enters into the loop and it prints element. The I value is here 1, so 1 plus 1 2, the element 2 is, and it reads the value from the console and it stored in this array I position. The I value is here 1, so array of 1 in 1 position it stored the 6. After that it increments the value of I. The I value is 2, 2 is less than 5, then it enters into the loop and element I value is here 2, so 2 plus 1 3, element 3 colon, and it reads the value from the console and store in this array. So the I value is here 2, so array of 2 means are in this second position we store this value 5. You see here. After that I value will be incremented by 1, means I value is 3, 3 is less than 5 as, then element 3 plus 1 4, so element 4 is, and it reads the value from the console and stored in this array. The array of I value is here 3, so array of 3 is in this third position, it stored the element 8. After that I value will increment by 1, I value is here 4, 4 is less than 5 as, it enters into the loop and element 4 plus 1 is 5, element 5, and it reads the value from the console and stored in this array of I value is here 4, so array of 4th position I enter 8, so at this stored in this 4th position. You see here 0 position we have 5, 1 position we have 6, second position we have 5 element, and third position we have stored this 8, and 4th position we store the 8 element. And it, you see here on the console it prints enter the numbers, and 1 5 6 5 8 8, it's stored in the array. After that it goes to the next for loop. After the reading the values goes to the next for loop. You see here in this for loop we have two for loop, this for loop I loop and j loop. First I value is here, count is 0 only, and I value is here 0, 0 is less than 5 as, it enters into the loop and it checks for this if condition. If visited 0 is equal to true, 0 is not visited, so it condition is false, it comes to the this next for loop j loop. For int j is equal to 0, 0 is less than 5 as, it enters into the loop and it checks for the condition. If array of I value is here 0 is equal to array of j value is here 0, so at 0th position we have the 5, and the at jth position of 0 we have the 5, so 5 is equal to 5 as condition is true, and it executes this code visited 0 is true. It makes the visited 0th position value is true, so at 0th position we have 5, so it mark as, you see here, is true, 0 is visited true. After that, it count value will be incremented by 1. The count value is here 0, then it increment by 1 means count value is equal to now 1. After that, it goes to the next iteration of the j loop. You see here, j value will be incremented by 1. J value is now 1. 1 is less than 5 as it enters into the loop, and it checks for the if condition. Array of I value is here 0 is equal to array of 1. J value is here 1. So at 0th position we have the 5, and at the 1 position we have 6. So 5 is equal to 6. No, the condition is false. Then it goes to the next iteration of the loop, j loop this. Now j value will be incremented by 1. You see here, j is equal to 2. 2 is less than 5 s. Then it enters into the loop and checks for the if condition. If array of 0 is equal to 0 means this I value is equal to array of j. J value is here 2. So in 0th position we have the 5 element, and the second position we have the 5. So 5 is equal to 5 as the condition is true. Then it executes this code. It make visited 2 means second element it make as true, it marks as true. So second element is 5, so it mark as a true, and it increments the value of count by 1, count plus plus. Now count value will be true 2 here count value is 1, so here the count value will be incremented by 1 means now count value is 2 here. And here you see here the 0 position of element is marked as true, and second position also it mark as visited true. After that, the j value will be incremented by 1, and it goes for the next iteration of the loop. Now j value is here 3. 3 is less than 5 s. Then it enters into the loop here and checks for the condition. If array of I value is here 0 only and is equal to array of j value is here 3. So at 0th position we have the 5 element and is equal to, at the third position we have here 8. So 5 is equal to 8. No, the condition is false. Then it goes to the next iteration of this j loop, and it increments the value of j value is now 4 here. 4 is less than 5 as the condition is true, and then it enters into the loop and checks for this if condition. If array of I value is here 0 is equal to array of j value is here 4. So at 0th position we have the 5, and the 4th position we have here 8. So 5 is equal to 8. No, the condition is false. Then it goes to the next iteration of the loop here, and you see here now j value will be incremented by 1. Now j is 5. 5 is less than 5. No, the condition is false. Then it come out of the loop and it prints on the console dot write line. It prints frequency of item array of I value is here 0. So at 0th position we have the 5 element. So it prints frequency of item array of I is here 5. So 5 is 2, and it prints our count value here. The count is 2 here. You see here our count is here 2. So it prints 2 on the console. It prints frequency of item 5 is 2 on the console. Now it makes the count value is 0. Then it goes to the next iteration of this for loop. Now I value will be incremented here by 1. I value is here 0. Now I value will be incremented here by 1. Now I value is here 1. 1 is less than 5 s. Then it enters into the loop. Then it checks for this condition. If visited 1 is equal to true. No, visited here visited 0 and 2 is 0 and 2 is only true, and here you see here visited 1 is not true, so its condition is false. Then it goes to the this next for loop for j is equal to 0. 0 is less than 5 s. Then it enters into the loop. If array of I value is here 1 is equal to array of j value is here 0. So at 1 position we have the 6, and the 0th position we have the 5. So 6 is equal to 5. No, the condition is false. Then it goes to the next iteration of this j loop, and now j value is here 1. J is equal to 1. J is less than 5. As the condition is true, then it enters into the loop and it checks for the if condition. If array of I value is here 1 is equal to array of j value is here 1. So at one position we have the 6 only, so 6 is equal to 6. As the condition is true, then it executes this code. Visited of j value is here 1, so visited 1 is it marked as a true. You see here 1 is marked as true, then it increments the value of count, and here you see here the count value is here 0, so it increment by 1. Now count value is 1 here. After that it increments the value of j and it goes to the next iteration of this j loop. J is now 2 is less than 5 as, then it enters into the loop and checks for the is this if condition. If array of I value is here 1 is equal to array of j value is here 2. So at one position we have the 6 element, and the second position we have the 5. So 6 is equal to 5. Now the condition is false. Then it goes to the next iteration of this j loop. J value is now 3 here. J is equal to 3. 3 is less than 5 as the condition is true. Then it enters into the loop and it checks for the if condition. If array of this I value is here 1 is equal to array of j value is here 3. So at one position we have the 6 element, and the third position we have the 8. So 6 is equal to 8. No, the condition is false. Then it goes to the next iteration of the j loop. J value is here now 4. J is 4. 4 is less than 5 as the condition is true. Then it goes to the loop and it checks for the condition. If array of I value is here 1 is equal to array of j value is here 4. So at one position we have the 6 and the fourth position we have the 8. 6 is equal to 8. No, the condition is false. Then it goes to the next iteration of this j loop, and j value is now 5. 5 is less than 5. No, the condition is false. Then it come out of the loop and it prints on the console the frequency of item array of I value is here 1. So at one position we have the 6, so it prints 6 here and it prints the value of count. The count value is here 1, so it prints 1 here. Frequency of item 6 is 1, and it make count value now 0. Count value is 0 here, and it goes to the next iteration of this for loop. For loop of I value is now 2 here. So you see here count is 0 for int I is equal to 2. 2 is less than 5 as, then it enters into the loop. If visited 2 is true, as you see here the visited 2 is true, so the condition is true. Then it executes this continue keyword. Continue keyword means it goes to the next iteration of this I loop. Now I value will be incremented by 1. Now I value is here 3. So 3 is less than 5 as it enters into the loop and it checks for this if condition. If visited 3, now I value is here 3, so visited 3 is true here. No, the condition is false. Then it goes to the next for loop. You see here for int j is equal to 0. 0 is less than 5 as it enters into the loop. If array of I value is here 3 is equal to array of j value is here 0. So at third position we have the 8 and the 0th position we have the 5. So 8 is equal to 5. No, the condition is false. Then it goes to the next iteration of this for loop, this j loop, and it increments the value of j. J value is now 1 here. J is less than 5 as, and it enters into the loop. If array of this I value is here 3, so array of 3 is equal to array of this j value is here 1. At third position we have here element 8, and the one position we have here 6. So 8 is equal to 6. No, the condition is false. Then it goes to the next iteration of this j loop. Now j value will be incremented by 1 here. So j is 2, 2 is less than 5s, and it enters into the loop and it checks for this if condition. If array of this 3 is equal to array of this j value is here 2. So at third position we have here 8, and the second position we have here 5. 8 is equal to 5. Now the condition is false. Then it goes to the next iteration of the j loop. J value will be incremented by 1. Now j is 3, 3 is less than 5 as it enters into the loop, checks for this if condition. If array of 3 means array of I is here 3, so array of 3 is equal to array of j value is here 3. So at third position we have here 8, and here third position we have here 8. So 8 is equal to 8 as the condition is true here. Then it executes this code. Visited 3 is equal to true, means it mark third position element as true. You see here third position will mark as true, visited true. So it increments the value of count. Count value is 0 now, increment by 1, and count value is here now 1. After that it goes to the next iteration of this j loop. J value will be incremented by 1. Now j value is here 4. 4 is less than 5 as. Then it checks for this if condition. If array of I value is here 3 is equal to array of j value is here 4. So at third position we have here 8, and the at fourth position we have here 8, and 8 is equal to 8 as the condition is true here, and it execute this code. Visited 4 is equal to true, it mark as a true. The fourth element it mark as a visited true, and it increment the value of count. Here you see here count value is here 1, and it increment by 1, means here count value is now 2. Make count value 2, and it goes to the next iteration of this j loop. J value will be incremented by 1. Now j value is here 5. 5 is less than 5. No, the condition is false. Then it come out of the loop and it prints frequency of item array of I value is here 3. So at third position we have here 8. So it prints here 8. The frequency of item 8 is, and it prints count value here 2. You see here count value is here 2, so it prints 2. The frequency of item 8 is 2, means it 8 element is come here 2 times, so it prints 2. After that it goes to the next iteration of this I loop. Now count value is 0 and I value will be incremented by 1. Now I value is here 4. 4 is less than 4 as it enters into the loop, checks for this if condition. If visited I value is here 4, so 4 is equal to true as here visited. So it executes the continue keyword, and continue keyword means it goes to the next iteration of this I loop. Now I value will be incremented by 1. I value is now 5. 5 is less than 5. No, the condition is false. Then it come out of the loop and it prints frequency of item 5 is 2, frequency of item 6 is 1, frequency of item 8 is 2. This is the tracing of this program, and I attach this tracing with the PDF. And now we go for the execution on the developer command prompt. For that we have to copy this program and paste in Notepad and save this program with this class name. Give the class name as a file name. Save this file. Save. Go to D drive. I save this file in my C# program folder. Give here class name as a file name. Element I given there class name, so give here same element dot cs, give the extension dot cs for this C# file. and click on save. And now we go for the execution. For that you have to open the developer command prompt. You see here we are in C drive, we have to go in D drive. For that you have to type here colon. You see here now we are in D drive. Now we go to our folder. For that you have to type here cd C# program, enter. You see here now we are in D drive in C# program folder. And now we go for the compilation. For that you have to type here csc, file name is element dot extension is cs and enter. File is compiled. Now we go for the execution. For that you have to type here only file name, give the file name without the extension, enter. You see here enter the numbers element 1 5, element 2 6, element 3 5, element 4 8, and element 5 is 8. You see here output of this program, and this is the execution on the developer command prompt. I hope you understood. Thank you.